It's been so long. It's been a whole week. And I realised that I hadn't been on Facebook for 6 days until yesterday. And I was like, what have I been doing this week? I've been working. That's what I've been doing. Working very hard. Working very hard here and there and everywhere. Walking quite a lot. Yesterday, no, not yesterday, Friday, I got woken up by a phone call, which was, well, my phone was turned off. And I picked it up. It was 7:30, and I was like, "Oh, my phone was turned off." And then it said incoming call, and it didn't make any sound at all. And it turned out because I turned the ringer off, and that's why it was very quiet. But they said, "Do you want some work today?" And I was like, "All right then." And it was in half an hour, and I was like, "That's okay." So I had to walk to this work, and it was a 49 minute walk, I think. And on the way there, I saw a dead fox, and I had to walk through a cemetery in the frosty morning. So that was a lovely thing. Then on the way home from work, I had to go the same way, and I had to go through the cemetery and past the fox again. At the cemetery, I got to the other side, and it was sort of coming up to, it was getting dusky, and I thought, oh, I looked at the sign, and if I'd left it 2 minutes later, then they would have locked the cemetery gate. So I could have got trapped in there forever. It's a very big one. Islington and St Pancras, I think it is. Very big cemetery. Very easy to get lost. It's just miles. It's got actual roads in it. Like on when I looked on Google Maps, it had a road through it, and I was like, is that through it? No, it is through it. It was viaduct road, which I thought would be a normal road, and it wasn't. It was a road through. It was a city of the dead. That's basically what it was. So yeah, there's actually very scary big buildings there. There's a really huge mausoleum. It says I can't remember who's something beginning with M that owned it. Well, they're probably not alive anymore. It being a mausoleum, it's a gigantic one. There's some really big things there. Anyway, this is a bit grim, isn't it? Anyway, that's really cheerful. A good start, yes. So I had meant to do the vegetable video that I was making, but then I didn't because I was busy, and then I was And also, there was a free Ancestry and Find My Past did free records this week, so I've been researching the past. I was actually looking up who lived in my house and who lived in my parents' house, and it was quite difficult because they were sort of hidden. I had to sort of trawl through and look. There was somebody called Mr. Richard. I think Richard Knight lived in my parents' house, and his wife. And in this house, there was somebody called. Anyway, I can't remember what they were called. Anyway, it was he worked for the council, and he got a medal for working for the council. Amazing. Well, maybe not the council, maybe the civil service. It's the same thing. He got a medal for being a civil servant, which is an achievement indeed. He'd been living here. He was born in 1901, I think, and he'd been working for the civil servant since he was 9 years old. That's a long time. All the way through the war, everything. So that's very impressive, really. When I first moved here, I found a medal upstairs, and I thought maybe that was his medal, but no, it's not the same name. So I don't know where that medal was from. The medal was completely random. I'm going to just see whether I can find it. So I'll show you this medal that I found in this house, it being Remembrance Weekend, Remembrance Day. So got to honour the dead, and that's here it is. Whoops, found it. There, look at that. So I've got a medal. It's not my medal. It's somebody that was in the First World War, and this is the medal that everyone got for fighting in the First World War. Not everyone, all the people that fought in it. Which is quite impressive, really. I did look it up. I'm not sure who it is now. I can't see because it says on the side who it is, but I can't see in this light. Anyway, so I've lost somebody talking about these things, but I had two people engaged with this. So that's a medal from the First World War. So that's really, it's quite good, isn't it, that medal? And so I was looking up people that from my family that fought. There was not many. I think there was two people from both sides of my family that died in the First World War, and in the Second World War. My Uncle Arthur, my great Uncle Arthur, he was in North Africa fighting, but I think it's one of those things where most of the people in my family were either too old or too young, or they were needed for other things. They were in important the work. If you worked down the mine or various other things, then you were excluded from having to fight. So that's pretty much what happened. So a lot of my family were hello Boheme. A lot of my family did not fight in either of the wars. But you've got to remember, I can't remember. I think my grandmother's brother, I think, died in the First World War. And he's really the only person. I did find his memorial somewhere, because there's a big wall with all the names of the people that were there. Anyway, let's move on. So that's yeah. So how has everyone been? It's nearly Christmas. I can't believe it's nearly Christmas. I was talking to my mother today on the internet, on Messenger, and she said something about, oh yes, it's only a month and a half until Christmas. I'm like, what? It's not even that. It's like 6 weeks until Christmas. I can't believe it. This year has very, very quickly gone. Very quickly gone. So I'm going to have to start buying presents for people soon. I don't know what I'm going to get. So Christmas shopping. Whoa, excitement. The nights are drawing in. It's getting very dark. And, it's dark by about 4:30, which is, that's why I was a bit worried walking through the creepy cemetery the other day. Very scary indeed. But, So the video that I'm going to make is coming out at some point, but I've said that for 3 weeks. I'm not really engaged with this anymore. It's just, you don't need Oyster cards these anymore. Now, if you want to, like, tourist information point me, if you have got a contactless card, swipe and go thing. I don't know, that's not what they're called, are they? Yeah, you can just go on that. You don't need an Oyster card anymore. You can get an Oyster card. You have to pay like £3 or £4 or £5, something like that. But you can give it back at the end of the day. And if you've had it for more than 24 hours, you can get a refund on Oyster cards. But this is good. Yes, Elise will give London information, but if you have got contactless card, then you can just swipe that and it will show up on your statement. If you register it with London Transport, then they will tell you the exact journeys and everything, so you can work it out. If they've charged you too much, you can go, no, I dispute that, I went through the gate. Because if you don't scan in and out, they charge you the full amount, which can be very expensive, because it's like up to zone 7 or something, and that's lots of money, like £13 or £14, which you don't want to pay when you've just gone on a tiny little journey. Excitement. Yeah, why are you asking me about Oyster cards? I don't know. Thank you for asking me. I provided information. That's very helpful for everyone, isn't it? Yes. Hooray. So I can do, that's what I'll do from now on. Public information films. Public information films like the one that I was talking about last week with Charlie Says and everything. But with Oyster cards. Yeah. Maybe I will do that. Yes, London trips in Christmas coming up. You'll be fine. I mean, it used to be more complicated than it is now. It's pretty easy now. Anyone can travel in London. They let anyone in. So you know all the people. Yeah, so that's cool. Very good. Oh, I don't know what's happening anymore in the world. Does anybody know what's happening in the world? Oh gosh. Yeah, I've just remembered, I was saying Christmas is coming up. I forgot the election. I've been listening to Welsh language radio, and so I've learnt a lot of sort of interesting words to do, like I've forgotten them again now, but etholiad, that's the name for an election in Welsh. So there's a lot of stuff about Welsh elections and not Welsh elections, British elections and all that sort of stuff. Llywodraeth? I don't know. I think that's the word for government, but I've probably said that wrong and probably forgotten it. But there's a lot of words that keep coming up. So that's interesting. We're going to have an election. Joy. Before Christmas. Way. Lucky ass, eh? Whoa. I can't remember what day it is. Is it like Thursday or the 9th or the 12th or something like that? So everybody internationally, we've got a lovely time ahead of us. Shemai! Hello, how are you? Yes, so Welsh language radio is very interesting in that I understand some of it more than I did because I'm doing this 50 days Welsh thing, and I think I've done more than 50 days and haven't really kept up because I've missed a few days. But because the first few days I did loads of them, and I did more than one a day, and then I'm just like, oh. But yeah, I still can't speak Welsh, but I can understand more. I think, like every single morning when I walk to work, I was listening to Taro Post, but that's not on anymore. So now I'm listening to Droskinio. Is that right? Yeah, anyway, over lunch, which started this week. It's a new program and it's got music in it, whereas the other one didn't. The other one was a sort of magazine program where they just talked about people. They talked to people all over Wales about issues. Trafford with that's not issues, that's discussing. They discuss things. And now this one is the same. They discuss things with people, but there's also music. There was a Cerys Matthews song and various other songs, and you're like, what I've noticed about Welsh songs, I might be wrong here, but there's a few Welsh songs I've heard this, and Gwyntog tends to come up a lot, which means wind. Basically, every single Welsh song that I've heard this week has got something to do with wind in some, white wind. Gwyntog, Gwynt, basically wind. Obsessed with wind in Wales, yes. Obviously, Bwrw Glaw is rain, but wind. Did they ever, I don't know, did they ever have the comedy show Friends translated into Welsh? I don't know. You tell me. We should do that, wouldn't we? Yeah. Yeah, we could do that. I can't do it for you on the spot, obviously, because that would be very complicated. But yeah, I don't know. But I tell you what has been translated into Welsh, I know for sure, because there's a Welsh language school near my parents' house, and I've probably said this before, but I went to a craft fair in Pontypool Park about 2-3 years ago. Yeah, exactly. Friendag. I can't say it. But yeah, and they had the Hairspray. But yeah, Bob Dylan's probably Welsh. That's what it is. That's why he's written a lot of the wind songs. Anyway, they had translated Hairspray into Welsh, and the Welsh language school was doing it. Now, there are Welsh-speaking people who are people of colour, obviously, but in this particular school, there were not. And obviously there are no Americans. So to get around this, because it would be embarrassing, you really can't do. And the whole thing about Hairspray is it's about the climate in Baltimore in the early 60s, and there's a lot of stuff about there's a lot of stuff about equality and various things that you're like, well, translate that in Welsh, yes, but how are you going to do that in Welsh? And apparently they were just doing it about, I don't even know what they were doing it. I can't even remember what it was. But they basically got rid of all the stuff that made Hairspray what it is. And I don't even know what was left. They had the songs. Good Morning Baltimore was Bore da Baltimore. Bore da Baltimore. Yeah, lovely. I'm sure it was amazing. I'm just, obviously, also when younger people do controversial plays and musicals, they tend to have special versions, like Into the Woods by Stephen Sondheim. It's got 2 acts. The first act is all the fairy tales, and then there's a sort of happy ending at the end, but they're like, what now? And the second act is all the happy endings unraveling and everything being awful. Now, the one for young people, they only have the first act, so it's happy endings and everybody is happy at the end, all good, everything fine. Of course it's not, because, if you've actually seen Into the Woods, you'll know that it's not. At the end, terrible things happen, it's not great. But when they have the young version of any of these things, they are less complicated and more happy. So that was... I would have liked to see it, actually, to see what they did. But they had quite a thin girl playing Tracy Turnblad in, Yes, some of the Welsh folktales are pretty scary, but I don't know what they would do if they did a young person's version of the Welsh folktales. They probably would get all the terrible thing. Yes, exactly, Steve. Exactly, Dylan. Very good. Oh, talking of which, I was just watching Strictly Come Dancing. Obviously, Michelle should have gone through, and she did. Spoiler. Sorry if you haven't seen it, but if you see it, then you'll know. But they had Luke Evans on it doing a song. I was like, I didn't know that Luke Evans sang. And I was like, does Luke Evans come from somewhere near me? And I looked him up and realised that he does. He comes from Pontypool. Hooray! Pontypool person. He's obviously the most famous person from Pontypool. Unless you count me, of course. And you don't. But then I was like, he moved away from Pontypool almost immediately. So I don't think I ever met him. Otherwise he would have just been on the streets when I was there. Not on the streets, like walking the streets. That's not what I mean. Anyway, he didn't live there, but he's from there. But then I found out that he was in the Boy George musical Taboo in 2002. And I saw that. I saw the Boy George musical Taboo in 2002 at what was then called the Venue and is now called the Leicester Square Theatre. It got taken over by new people. I saw it. So I must have seen Luke Evans in 2002 and did not even realise. Anyway, he's from Pontypool. Ooh, excitement. So I'm always happy to see people from my hometown do well. I don't know any of the others. I'm sure there must be some. One of the people from Manic Street Preachers, he's from Pontypool. And there must be other people. Rugby players. A lot of rugby players from Pontypool. And name some more famous Pontypool people. See, it's only 36,000 people in the Pontypool and surrounding areas, and there's only 72,000 people in the whole of Torvine. So there's not going to be that many famous people at all. I mean, I was really chuffed when Josie Darby, I found out that she's from Newport. But Newport used to be Gwent, or before that Monmouthshire. But Gwent used to be Blaenau Gwent, Torvine, Monmouthshire, Monmouth, that sort of area, what is now Monmouthshire, and Newport. But then they all split off into little bits. So all the people from Newport, even though that is, in my mind, still Gwent, and people from Monmouthshire and Blaenau Gwent, and is there another bit? Torvine. I'm just in the Torvine bit. Yeah. So now they're not Gwent people, so I can't claim them as my own. I can only claim people from Pontypool, because basically nobody else came from. I don't think there's anybody famous from Blaenavon. And I don't think there's anybody famous from... I don't know. There's a few politicians from the area, obviously, because, yeah. But Paul Flynn, he's from the area. He was Minister for Northern Ireland at some point. But, yeah. Do I know anything about the buried pyramid north of... I do not know anything about a buried pyramid just north of Pontypool. Roy Jenkins was from Pontypool. Exactly, politicians, see. Roy Jenkins was actually from about 2 or 3 doors away from my parents, or across the road from where they're living now. He lived near there. Not now, obviously, because he's not alive. But yeah, he lived very near there. There was definitely people, like other politicians, lots of politicians from the area, but really not that many, and a few poets, I think. Myfanwy Haycock, but I don't think she's famous. This is one of the things that you think somebody's famous because they're famous in Pontypool, and then you discover that nobody outside your hometown has the slightest idea who they are. And I think Myfanwy Haycock is one of these people. She's a very famous Pontypool poet, but she's not really... Oh, it's dark here. Not really famous anywhere else. I'm probably going to have to find some cool things to make sure that this doesn't turn off again, aren't I? So I'll make sure that I get something cool. Linda McCartney's vegetarian sausages. Are they going to keep it cool? Yeah, but they'll ruin the sausages. I've got some... Yeah, I'm going to have some broccoli. This broccoli is going to keep my... Whoops! My touch screen cool so that it doesn't shut off like it has been doing. Ooh, awkward. Because now it's difficult to... Because I've now got the cold thing in my hand. This happened a couple of weeks ago, didn't it? Yeah, so people that you think are famous and then they're not. It's like very much like if you go out the country at all and you think that somebody's famous in Britain and you think they're famous everywhere. Like I don't know, Stu Francis. He's not really famous anymore. He used to be in Crackerjack. He used to go crush I could crush a grape or something like that. And I know that I was on a bus recently on a coach, and there's like a load of comedy pilots and things on the View. Is it called the View? The Viewer, I think. And Big Fish in the Swan. And Stuart Francis has got a comedy special on that. Like of all the people to get a comedy special in 2019, I think Stu Francis is the one that I think is least likely to have got a comedy special, and yet he has one. And also all the other people on that have got comedy specials are people that I've either done gigs with or know. So I haven't got a comedy special, but every single person I've ever met seems to have a comedy special. So maybe I should just do a comedy special of my own to just keep up with the comedy special people. Anyway, yeah, people that are famous in countries and then they're not famous in other countries. There's loads of Americans that are really not famous outside America, but are massive stars in America. I can't name anybody offhand because you don't know who they are because they're American, and we don't know who they are. But there are loads of them. Trust me. There's every country has got the most famous person in that country is not really going to be famous anywhere else. Have a nice day. The man is oh yes. Everybody's soul sells out. Everybody's soul sells out. Yeah. Whoops, I dropped my phone. That's because I'm carrying broccoli in my hand and it's very cold. That's my finger in the way of the camera. Yay! What else has been going on? Ooh, I used a hot water bottle for the first time. Not ever. First time this year. I bought one that was only £1.99. Ooh, bargain. And it's red. Do you want to see it? It's very, very expensive. Very luxury hot water bottle. There. It was very good. Thing about hot water bottles is it says you can't put boiling water in them. It's like... So you have to leave it to cool down. By the time you've remembered it, it's too cold and you will freeze to death. But it was good. Successful, really. This is a bit wobbly because I'm trying to rest on my knees. How is everyone anyway? Are you all good? You're looking forward to stuff? Oh, I see. It wasn't actually Have a Nice Day by the Manic Street Preachers. What? The Manic Street Preachers. Yes, covers. That's another thing. People do covers and then they get more famous. The covers get more famous than the originals a lot of the time. Very strange. And also, really old songs. I tell you what, it's really weird because I've got nephews and nieces who are all fairly young, under 15, under 13 even. And I've been working with people that are quite young and they will be singing their little songs and you go, how do you know that song? I think I mentioned somewhere that somebody that I was working with was singing Rebecca Black's Friday. And that came out, I think, in 2010, and this person was 7, so was not alive when Friday came out. And I was like, what? So I think Friday must have been on something recently. A lot of things. And my nephews sing songs, or I sing songs, and they go, what? How do you know that? I join in with their little songs that they're singing. They go, how do you know that? And they're amazed and astounded at the things that are very old songs indeed and are from my youth, many years ago. And yet they are now. Everything comes around because nothing's new. Nothing's new. I'm sure I've said this before. Anyway, nothing's new. Nothing is new. Oh! What popped up, talking about nothing new, on Facebook you get a little pop-up thing saying, this is what happened lolly years ago, la la la, this is a post from then. And there was a post from 2009 saying, oh, if nothing goes wrong, in 10 days' time I will have had 3 million views on YouTube. 3 million. Imagine. Yeah, that's 10 years ago. Oh, if I had that then, imagine how much I must have cajillions of views. No, I've got 6 million views now. It's taken me another 10 years to get 3 million. I was 3 years to get 3 million, another 10 years to get twice as much as that. It sort of flatlined. It went it's just basically been exactly the same for about 8 years. Yeah, it went up and then it stays. It stays the same because basically nobody cares. Like, there's all these people. I see all these people that are like massive YouTube stars and are making thousands of millions of pounds for absolutely nothing. And I'm thinking, how on earth did they do that? It's a mystery. And then I saw how much money I've made over the years, and it's not a lot, but it's more than nothing. And I'm like, really? Is that much? Obviously, I hadn't monetized them until quite a long time after I got the massive swell. So it's pretty much since the 6 million or 7 million, whatever. Oh yeah, I've got hundreds of million. So really the monetization came well after I got most of the views. So I obviously did not make that much out of them. But how do people make money on YouTube? I don't know. How do people even... I was like, what's wrong with my hair? It's like, that's not my hair. That's a bit of my cardigan. Sponsorship. Yes, that's how they make it. Yeah, but I don't do sponsorship. Every now and then. See, I've got mixed up with somebody else, I think, because, yes, I need to do that, and then I'll get punched in the face and my nose will break. I don't think so. Yes, I do get offers for sponsorship, and they go, oh, all right, maybe. And then I look into them and I realise there's somebody else called Elise Harris. Like, there seems to be a popular baby blogger by the name of Elise Harris, the same name as me, on Instagram. And she's talking about her new baby. And so I'm like, hey, yeah, I'm not the chef. I'm not the chef from Hell's Kitchen. Not me. I'm not the popular baby blogger. Not me. So maybe I can get their sponsorship deals, but I haven't got them. There's also a Catholic correspondent. Not me. There's also a town planner in Australia, who's not me. And a dog breeder, who's not me. And also, I get quite a lot of offers saying, hello, would you like to do my wedding for me? There's a person that does wedding makeup and hair. It's like, oh, that's discussed. Can you do my wedding makeup and hair? Somebody in Texas or something, East Texas. And I'm like, I'd be delighted to. Can you fly me all the way over to East Texas and pay for me to do I can't do makeup and hair, but I'll be delighted if you pay me to do that. So there's quite a lot of people that seem to be very confused about their own email addresses, and they're giving out mine instead. Well, in a way, in that I am a member of Equity and that no person can be professionally acty with my name in this country, but that doesn't protect me anywhere else, I don't think. But there's quite a lot of other people. I was actually having this really weird discussion this morning, in that I said something about Vanessa Williams, that there's two Vanessa Williams, and my flatmate said, oh, that explains that, because he looked up a different Vanessa Williams who was in like City of Angels or something, and he'd got a picture of somebody that was the wrong Vanessa Williams. And then he said something, it's like la 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 Michelle Williams, and I'm like, oh well, she's definitely black, Michelle Williams. And then he went, what? She's in Dawson's Creek and Fosse Verdon. I was like, I think yes, there's two Vanessa Williams and there's two Michelle Williams. There's a lot of people called Williams, and there's a different Williams, and very confusing. There's two Tony Curtises. One of them's dead and one of them's a poet. A Welsh poet. A famous Welsh poet. Is he famous? Well, he's got the name Tony Curtis, and Tony Curtis is quite famous. But there's lots of people that have got the same name as other people. There's like several David Mitchells. One of them's a comedian on Have I Got Lies for You? That's not what it's called. Would I Lie to You? And the other one wrote Cloud Atlas, and apparently there's another one as well. So there's a lot of people with the same names as other people. Elise Harris, yes, exactly. That should change my name to Elise Harris. My name's perfectly great. My name's fine. And everybody else who's using my name, they're using it wrongly because it's me, just me. Yes, that's very confusing everywhere. Michelle Williams and Michelle Williams and Vanessa Williams and Vanessa Williams and Tony Curtis and Tony Curtis, and then the hundreds of Elise Harrises. See, I was under the impression it was just me being Elise Harris, but no, there's lots of Elise Harrises, and none of them are famous. No, all of them are famous, except for me. Basically, I'm the least famous Elise Harris. What are the chances of that? Not good. I was the only one when I started, which was billions of years ago, before anyone. I'm probably older than all of them because I'm from like the dawn of time. Anyway, I should probably go now before this completely heats up and overloads. I stopped it short last week because I wanted to see his Dark Materials, and then I watched it on catch up. But I watched it last week and I wasn't that impressed because, to be honest, CGI animals don't do that much for me. I don't think that they were very... It's like... I know it's not very realistic to have talking animals anyway, but they just look silly. And it's taking itself so seriously. And I also saw The Lion King, which is ridiculous. See, The Lion King, the new version of The Lion King, if they hadn't advertised it as a live-action version, I would have been happy that it's slightly dodgy CGI animals doing The Lion King, remaking The Lion King, which didn't really need to be remade. Would have been, oh, that's interesting CGI animation. But no, they completely oversold it as like, this is live action. Obviously, it's not live action. It's not even close to live action, which is fine if they hadn't said it was live action. And also, oh, I think that Billy, what's his name? He's got a really good voice. The one that plays, is it Timon? Yeah. He's Billy Eisner. He's got a very good voice, yeah. But apart from that, it was all right, I suppose. Anyway, if you like The Lion King, watch it, I suppose. That's really not much to say about it. Obviously, Donald Glover's good because it's Donald Glover, but is he Simba? Well, he is. And also, James Earl Jones. I know James Earl Jones is dead, so I was like, is that James Earl Jones, or is it just somebody doing an impression of James Earl Jones? And then I thought it must be somebody doing an impression of James Earl Jones, and it wasn't. It was James Earl Jones, and I was like, oh, okay. It didn't sound like James Earl Jones. It's like they'd recorded him in a sort of vacuum tube or something. I don't know what. There was something a bit weird about the sound balance. It's just like some of the people, like there were the hyenas were in a cave, and they just sounded like they were in a supermarket or something. That's not quite what I mean, but it just didn't sound like it was in a cave. Anyway, what can you do? I don't know. I think I better just wear this down now because nobody's responded to me for at least 10 minutes, and I don't even know whether I'm still alive. Am I still here? Am I just an illusion? Am I just talking into... I'm obviously talking into space. Talking into thin air. But is this actually still on? Is this on? I don't know. I'll go and not watch his Dark Materials now. Happy Christmas. It's not Christmas yet. It feels like it might be soon. People are singing Christmas carols. People are putting things Christmassy in the shops. It's all very Christmassy. Yes, so this has been me talking about famous people who are different famous people, and Pontypool, and elections. What else have I talked about? Stuff. Pretty much the same as always. All right, well, if you've got any suggestions about what to do next time, let me know. Maybe I can't go out and about because I'm very much based on the Wi-Fi here, so I can't really go anywhere. Also, it's dark out and cold, so I'll probably still stay here. But apart from that, yeah, see you next week then. Bye-bye.